Welcome to. We're just making it up as we go along here at the View From The Ninian. We've got two games to talk about that we don't really want to talk about. Tom's woken up at 5 a.m. again. Ben's caught the sun. He's got a bit of a red face. And we're going to dissect whatever's happening in the world of Cardiff City at the moment, which I don't think anyone's going to enjoy, but we're going to try our best anyway. Ben, where did you catch the sun?
In the garden, apparently.
Yeah, you got a bit of a red face, mate. Rosy cheeks.
Well, it's just exciting to speak to you boys, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Tom, 5 a.m. where you are. Any news from tomorrow?
No, just that I'm still quite sad. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're all quite sad here at the View From The Ninian. I think the Cardiff City fans in general are quite sad. We have two games to talk about. We'll touch upon some of the things from each game, but we're just going to let the Twitter comments speak. We had over 75 people responding to our Twitter yesterday asking you to vent your spleens. And the first one that caught my eye, Tom, and I think this is mainly aimed at you, was from Gareth Thomas. He said, if you say anything positive, I'm never listening again. I want an hour of negativity. No looking for the bright side. Nothing about can we beat Sheffield United? Yeah, we may nick a 1-0. Just full-on negativity. And I've had a few other messages. My brother messaged and said, is Tom in permanent state of sunstroke if he carries on with the positivity today? So, are you going to give the people what they want? Are you going to be negative? Or do you have any positivity still coursing through your bones?
Look, there is some positive. No, there's not. I'm not even going to bother trying. No, I'm done now. No more positives.
He finally broken him.
Oh, honestly, the lack of sleep, like getting up early to watch the Preston game, staying up to watch that dross against Stoke, it's completely finished me now. I'm tired. I don't want to watch any more of it. I want the end of the season. I like speaking to you two, but I don't want to speak to you today. I'm so done with speaking about Cardiff City. But annoyingly, we can still stay up. But no, no, none of that today. Like, it's been a bad week for us. And it's really has broken me this week.
Ben, are you surprised by that? Tom has been a beacon of positivity throughout the season, even when we've, I try and be positive, but it has broken us all this season, hasn't it? Ben, you're not normally the most positive of people, but are you surprised by Tom's climb down here?
I knew he'd break, but I didn't think it would be this drastic and this far of a drop off. Yeah. I mean, this is superb. Welcome to the club, Tom, at last. But
thank you.
Yeah, fair play to you. What are we? 42 games in. It's taken this to break you, but
42 or 41, I can never remember.
42, I think, isn't it?
Not enough games, in my opinion.
No, should have broken sooner, really. Yeah, Ben. I mean, that tweet kind of sums it up, really, doesn't it? It was the first one that caught my eye yesterday when I put out the call for this. There's not much we can say, is there? We've had two games this week. Preston, I thought we gave ourselves a shot in the arm with the 94th minute equaliser, but Saturday's game against Stoke was just the pits, wasn't it?
It was appalling. I knew it was bad, and I knew it had given up. Sort of walking out of the stadium at full time, walking along Sloper Road past the bus station. Normally, even after like shocking games, there's a bit of a buzz. There's a couple of people having a joke or sort of like stuff going on. It was silent. Yeah. There was no sort of. It was just people huffing and just silent. It was so eerily similar to when I was walking back to the car after Cabango scored that equaliser. Scored that winner, sorry. It summed the whole mood of that place up. That goal went in and just everyone resigned to it. The club, the fan base broke at that point, and it was just bleak. It was a bleak moment in a very, very bleak game.
Yeah, and a very bleak season, Tom. I think, we've talked. You could go back and listen to every episode we've done this season, and I'm sure we'll be repeating.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Again. I would recommend it. I would not recommend it, but it feels like we couldn't plumb new depths, and yet yesterday felt like we were plumbing those new depths.
Yeah, it did feel like a real kind of moment, didn't it? Like this is enough now. Like it's been really bad, but that really kind of summed it up. And like Ben talking about the fans there, it's really interesting watching from home because the cameras pan on the same bit of the crowd, like constantly. And like an hour in, there's people looking pretty pissed off with the odd person laughing and joking with each other. And they did the same thing in the 90th minute. There was no smiles. There was no gallows humour. It was just sadness and just kind of yeah, this is done now. And it was such a bad game. Like, we deserved to lose that game. And we didn't deserve to draw, I don't think, against Preston in the week. And I think that's the worst thing about this now, is that we don't deserve to stay up. You've got teams, you've got teams around us like pulling out results, like Plymouth pulling out results, Derby fighting, and we're just not.
They're all rallying.
Yeah, and like we were like unbeaten in 4, but we didn't deserve to be unbeaten in 4. We just seem to be getting away with the odd draw, and I'm not quite sure how. And we deserved for it to kind of catch up with us and bite us on the arse like the Stoke game did. And yeah, it's just been miserable. There's no fight there. There's just nothing. There's no tactics. It's just putting players on a field. It's not working over and over again. And I think it's kind of just want us to be put out of our misery a little bit now, because it is misery.
Oh, it's complete misery. I was at the Preston game on Tuesday, and it just felt like, I mean, the first half was one of the worst first halves of football I think I've ever seen. And that's solely on Reza at that stage, because he chopped and changed the team to the point where he didn't need to. He said he wanted to match their system. He said he wanted to kind of bolster the defence, all that kind of stuff. But no one had a fucking clue what they were doing. Like, you bring in 3 centre-halves who were meant to be playing in each other's pockets. And the goal came about because Gutas had been pulled out of his position. Darlan missed the first clearance. Gutas missed the second clearance. And then they're through on goal. And it had to be that fucking racist, allegedly, who scored the goal. And then I just thought, at the end of that game, we scored in the 94th minute, Mate again. It's like, that's going to give us the shot in the arm. O'Dowda, Ben, talked in the press conference on Thursday about what the players realise they need to do. They realise they need to win the game. And then Saturday happens. And I think that's the realisation, isn't it? It's that the players can talk a good talk. We can fight a little bit in the week, but that's 2 steps forward. And it's about 6 back after Stoke, isn't it?
It's a massive step back. I put on Twitter.
Frozen. This is good. This is suspense building stuff. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
But you said you put on Twitter and now you're back.
Yeah, now I'm really invested now. What did you put on Twitter, Ben?
I can't tell you. I said about there being a lack of leadership and characters. And that's exactly what the whole club's been about for years. It's a lack of characters on there. And we've said it time and time again, but players aren't stepping up when it matters. And like you said, they're talking a good talk. Like O'Dowda talked a great talk in the press conference. Sort of thinking,
I started to believe.
Yeah, perhaps they get this. Perhaps they're going to show up. And to be fair, I is this positive? But I thought O'Dowda was one of the few players really having a go in that first 20 minutes before the game was stopped because of the fan falling ill. I thought we were having a bit of a go there, which we could try and make stuff happen. The players had a bit of bite about them. But the rest of the game was embarrassing. They just rolled over and had their bellies tickled by a terrible Stoke side. And they deserve to beat us. This isn't me saying, we didn't deserve to lose. They deservedly beat us, but they were dog shit too. And it just summed it up. Their reactions at full time summed it. Players coming to their knees. Tanner can give it all the waves to the stand and stuff, trying to get things up and running as he wants. Until they put the effort in and put the performances on the pitch, they don't have the fucking say in what the atmosphere is like. It's just crippling how bad it's been.
I should say thoughts go out to the fan who did collapse at the game yesterday. I believe he was conscious when he was taken to the stretcher. I hope he's recovering now and able to get back to the city if he wants to, because I don't see why people would want to at this stage of things. Tom, when you go back to that Swansea game where we won 3-0, that felt like, and it's the only good thing I can really remember from the season, so forgive me for harking back all the way to there. That felt like a team that was rallying together. When it all kicked off at the end, you had Salek in there, you had Darlan getting involved. It felt like a team that was really together. The team now, it properly feels like a team of individuals, doesn't it? And I think Ben's right. O'Dowd is one of the only players who can take any credit from the last few games of the season, take any credit from the season, in fact, because I think he really does give a shit. But Callum Robinson, he taps the badge, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you question whether he really gives a shit. Salek has dropped off in the past few games, but I think he does really care, as shown by him trying to get in the crowd yesterday with the fan and actually, being the first person there to try and help. But there's a lot of other players in this team that I would question whether they have the moral fibre for the battle that we're in.
I think that's the biggest change. I think our performances have dipped as well since then, but it's the general feel, the attitude, the kind of just that's the thing. Like, it's the effort that, like Ben touched on there. It just feels like they don't care, and it's just really hard to watch then because when they score, like when someone scores against us, they look a little bit annoyed at each other, looking around. It doesn't feel like they're rallying. And I think we mentioned this early in the season. It's not like they're rushing to try and get the game restarted and stuff again. It just looks like they're trudging about. And I think that's the hardest thing to watch. And like you're saying about like, don't remember many good things. There was a part earlier in the season where we were joking about, like, I was looking at if I could fly back to the playoffs and stuff like that. Because at one point it genuinely felt like we turned a corner and then it just didn't happen. And it's just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And like that Stoke game, we should have been 1 down within 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you can give all the talk you want in the week about, we need to win this game. We should have been 1 down in a home to Stoke within minutes. And it was only because Lewis Baker flew it over the bar with just the keeper to beat that we weren't behind. And we could have been, they still could have been out to sight early doors in that game. We didn't show up beginning of that game at all. And when the game restarted after the fan fell ill, we didn't get going again. It was only them who got going. And it's just, I don't get it. I just don't understand. We're not starting games well. We're not coming at teams. And it's just so frustrating to watch. You can forgive them being like bad. You can forgive them being shit at football and putting effort in. But it's not that. We're underperforming. We're underachieving. We've got good players who are not showing up week on week. And it's just frustrating as a fan. Like, it's just, we deserve better than this.
And I was going to say, I'm just going to cut quick. When we do start the games quickly, like we did at Watford away, for example, again, one of the only things I can remember, we can beat teams that are quite good. Watford were in a really good form at that point. They were on the verge of the playoffs, and yet we blew. And as soon as they scored, we went straight back up and scored the second goal to make it 2-1. But Ben, thinking back to yesterday's game against Stoke, or I know you don't want to, but their goal kind of sums up really this team, doesn't it? In terms of how lethargic the Cardiff team could be. Long throw comes in, there's a bit battling around, and the ball hits a Stoke player's arm. I'm not saying it's deliberate handball, but it hits his arm, and obviously they benefit from that. 2 or 3 players throw an arm up, but they don't look like they're even bothered about claiming for a handball, do they?
No, there's no real claim for it to convince the ref. There's no belief in the appeals.
There's no one running at the referee afterwards.
Horvath did, I think. That was the only one.
One of the only ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if Horvath lifted his arms up, he'd have wiped the referee from 20 feet away. So the referee was lucky there. But I think it is just goes to show the belief amongst the players, isn't it? There is no, I'm fully convinced that relegation is the most uttered word in that dressing room at the moment, and they're convinced it's happening. There's nothing in there that's making me think these boys have got fight. I said as soon as we entered the relegation zone, I was like, I can't look at this side and think there's enough in them to get out of here now, and they've completely proved that. When it matters, they're just not hitting the heights. They haven't all season apart from the Swansea game. It's a team full of bottle jobs. The Stoke game, there was moments where the Canton tried to get things going. There was like a real good noise there. They really tried. But the players didn't react. And it sort of shows in the stats. I'm trying to look now. Like, we had 16 shots. The goalkeeper made 3 saves. How many of those do you reckon were diving saves? So sort of saves there to make an effort.
Oh, less than 0 somehow.
Big fat donuts, no diving saves. Horvath made 2 diving saves. Save from outside the box, it was 2, 1 in the box. It just sums it up. It just wasn't good enough. There's no moment you look back into it. Probably the most vital game the club's played in years. There was no moment where you've gone, we were unlucky not to score there. Or they were a really good effort.
There's one.
There's one moment. Yeah.
But it's not a shot, is it? It's not a shot where you're going, that could have gone in. He missed the ball completely.
No, he didn't. He put it over, didn't he?
You did over the bar.
I
like 3 yards.
I thought you fucking put it away. Like, I can get a touch.
No. And Isaac Davis should have scored. He absolutely should have scored that goal.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should, but I'm thinking more just like there's no moment of that where you're going.
Oh, no. Apart from that, yeah. But it was the same. To be honest, it was the same. I know we drew the game 2 over Preston and Mayte scored in the last minute, but up until then, their keeper made 1 save. Obviously, we scored the goal in the second half as well. But like apart from that, Same at QPR. I don't remember the QPR keeper making a save. And it's like
No,
we're not testing the keeper as much as we should be. Like it comes back to ice hockey, right? Like, and I know this is very Vincent Tan, but the more shots you take on target, the more likely you are to potentially score goals. We get into the box, we blaze it over, blaze it wide, or we try and pass it around to somebody who's going to cross it in, and then they put in a crap cross and no one gets on the end of it. We just don't, when we get into the positions where we should be taking shots, we just don't do it. And I think over the last few games, that's because the players are shit scared, or they don't trust another player to do something. It was similar at QPR. There was moments where there was an easier option to lay it off. I think there was one that Salic tried with the outside of his right boot when Ashford was the better option. Do they not trust the other players, or they're just trying to do it themselves? I don't know. But there's just something fundamentally wrong with this team.
I'm going to say it. I think the thing fundamentally wrong with this team is Omar Reza.
Omar Reza, Benefactor describes him, says, down lads, there's no coming back from this. League One beckons and it's down to Reza's YTS training methods and tactics. Absolute dipshit he is. I am very angry. Carry on, Ben.
I think you look at the Preston game. What is he doing trying to match them in a system where they've dominated at home with, and we've played twice and got battered when we've gone into that formation? Just what is going through his thinking there? It's fucking playing football manager, hoping for the best. They've trained in that. They've routinely drilled in it, and they know where to exploit. We had no idea what to do, and you saw that with how much space, like how easy the fucking attackers were finding to break through the lines.
Yeah.
It's just shit management. And for him to come out and say, "Oh, I made this and made that," and sort of like trying to sort of justify it, it's just horrific from him. The bloke needs to Tan's not going to sack him, but honestly, I think like the honourable thing right now would be sort of step aside and sort of say, look, someone needs to come in and sort of ready the ship for next season because we're down. I don't care if it's only 1 point. I think we're gone. But the planning for League One needs to start now because it's going to be a slog next year as well at this rate.
Blue Army 1899 says, this is what happens when you get a PE teacher instead of a decent manager. Tom, look, Reza's a pumpkin. He's absolutely dreadful at what he does. I think he's had the lowest, the second tier tweeted something like he's had the lowest points as a manager since he came into being a manager. I can't remember the stat. I'll try and find it. He keeps changing and chopping the team.
He became
fewest wins.
Fewest wins.
Fewest wins since he became first team manager of anyone in the league. What the fuck is he doing? Why is he still here? I don't really know what to say about him.
No, we stuck up for him for a while. I think it started okay with him. It started well, to be fair. And then it's just got worse and worse and worse. And we're seeing the same thing, same pattern of behaviour every game of just throwing a load of subs on and hoping it works. There's no kind of method to it. And just teams know what we're going to do. And that is not a lot. We're really easy to beat. Stoke defended well against us. But because we just didn't really do anything to deserve to score. And it's just constant, the same every single game, really. We're relying on just throwing players on and hoping for a magic moment in the last 5 minutes of games. We have a 10-minute spell in some games where we make some subs and it goes okay for a bit and then we concede. And it's just, I'm just sick of watching it. And it's just, they pan to Reza and he just looks lost. And you can see at the end of that Stoke game, he just kept looking at the screen to see how long was left. And you don't ever see managers do that. Do you know what I mean? Just glancing up at the clock all the time. But you can see him doing it. He looks completely devoid of ideas. And he is devoid of ideas. And I do feel sorry for him, but I'm just sick of it now. And like you said, he could just step aside something. He's not going to. But it's just bad football. And it's not like it's the odd bad game. We're not even having the odd good game anymore. It's just dross week in, week out, and it's so hard to watch.
And I think if you look at our recent results, obviously there was, we said we were unbeaten in 4, right? But now that's turned into basically 1 win in 6 because of the last results in terms of the games we've lost. And that's how you try and paint a decent picture that we're not losing games. And as Callum O'Dowd said in his press conference, we're getting points still when we're playing badly. But now, the Stoke result, it just flattens that, doesn't it? And I think if you look at, I come back to transfer market all the time and look at what he's done in the last sort of 10 games. He changes the team and the way we play almost every week, Ben. In the last 3 games, we've played 4-2-3-1, a 3-4-3 at Preston, and now a 3-5-2 flat, according to transfer market. And I think, you can say what you want, transfer market, trustworthy, whatever else, but we've said it time and time again, haven't we, Ben, that he doesn't know his best starting 11. He doesn't know the best way of playing. And that creates instability in the team. Like, if you don't know who and he might say there's been injuries and all this kind of stuff, but you would know who your best team is and the team that you trust to go out there, wouldn't you? And he doesn't seem to do that.
Well, you'd know your style of play at the very least.
Yeah.
You'd know by this stage what's he on? 30,
what's plan A, what's plan B?
36 games. 36 games in, you'd know what style you're going for. You know players would be well drilled and sort of know what's expected of them. There's none of that. There's no sort of, you're looking at going, right, at least they're in a good shape, because players are getting pulled all over the pitch. That Preston game was prime example of that. Players all over the shop, exactly, like not knowing where they need to be. We spoke about it before countless times of players looking like when Rawls played his last game, people looking at him to say, what do we do here? And he's going, I don't know what he wants. The players haven't got a clue. The players have given up on him. Like, they had, when he went through that run, the players believed in him and sort of had that sort of goodwill behind him.
The Norwich game, wasn't it? That was the moment. That was the moment.
Yeah.
It was like the players are bought into this.
Yeah, and he's lost his way, and that means the players lose. Like, it's really, really poor leadership from him. He's not got a clue. I feel, part of me feels bad slating him for it, but it's got to a point now where it's terminal and there's no saving this. Like, there's no point in being here till the end of the season. There just isn't. Like, he's not on a huge contract. The payoff it's a month's salary for Tan. You're better off paying that and sort of fucking bringing someone in who you think's going to sort us out next year and start getting things in place now, because there's a lot of important decisions still to be made for next year. You've got massive players on big money that sort of contracts are up, but do you sort of work with them and see if they're willing to come stick around at the club and get us back up? Like, we don't know what the situation was with the club captain. Joe Rawls is a Cardiff City legend. His contract's up. There's been no talk of what's going on there. Ramsey, the same, a huge influential player. Sort of financially, the club can't afford to keep him at the moment, but what do you do? How do you move on from that? It's such a big thing now, this next job. And he just doesn't need to be anywhere near it. Doesn't need to be near the conversation. The whole coaching staff, to be honest, needs to go for it, because it's the same sort of situation.
I don't know if we'll need to worry about Aaron Ramsey. He's pivoting to selling vodka now. I don't know if you've been seeing his Instagram.
Yeah, I did see that.
10 premium spirit by the looks of it. Aaron, if you're listening, send us a bottle. It'll probably smash on the way.
I feel actually I would have knocked myself out.
Yeah. Reece Spear.
Start going into Bleach, Aaron. Feel free.
Tom Reece Spear says, should we do a Rotherham and get next season started now? It didn't work for them, but should we hire Steve Evans, Tom? Should we hire the fat man Steve Evans?
Don't put it out there. Don't put it out there, please.
No,
I put McCarthy out there, and within a day it backfired.
Yeah, if he comes, I'm just watching AFL. Like, I can't stand the bloke. But it's an interesting one. But who would want to come in and be the one who technically relegates us? I think, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to want to do that. Like, and I know we're not down yet, and there's only a point in it and stuff, but it really does feel like
the goal difference is 2 points.
Yeah, true. But like, I don't know. Like, who's going to want to come in? Like we're going through that squad. Like, we've got some big earners there. Like, I don't know. Who would you want to stick around as well out of them at the moment?
Well, who asked that question? Someone did ask that question. We can get to that in a bit when I find the question, because there are obviously a lot of tweets to go through. But I think, I mean, look, we're talking about this because we're just going through all the tweets. You know, there was a lot of tweets yesterday after the game. There's a lot of anger. Thomas Taylor, really, really hate to say it, but I think League One beckons. We've already heard from the Rasping Dog. John T.M. Williams says, lack of guile, still be there waiting to score. Just wish our ex-players had bought their boots. Lee Samuel says fans played their part. Players and coaching staff didn't yet again. Be a football travesty if we actually stay up. But don't worry, we won't. Ben, like, you know, this is what, third or fourth season we've been doing this properly as a three. The season that we stayed up before last season, you know, the Rotherham game, keeper ace goal, all that kind of stuff. That season never felt like it was truly done in the way that this season feels like, does it?
No, I think the big factor of that was we never actually ended up for a prolonged period in the bottom three. We might have had the odd game where we were there, but we kept our heads above water. Our heads are well below water now, and we're drowning. I
mean, the highest we've been this season is 17th, as we said last week on the pod.
That's mad.
Still blows my mind that after all those games, that run Reza went on at the start, 17th the height we climbed, and at that point
we only went into the relegation,
lads.
Yeah, And we only went into the relegation zone on match day 40 for the first time since match day 26 or 25.
It's insane. We've just been that same level all season. It's mad now. It's got to the point that if we did stay up, I feel like we'd have to apologise to other fan bases. I think we'd feel bad as a fan. It's such a weird feeling around our fan base. Like, we do really deserve to go down here. And to be honest, we deserve to kind of be rock bottom and out of touch. But I don't quite understand why we're not. Because you look back, I can't remember good performances for such.
I can't remember anything good.
I think you can look at 2 good performances of Plymouth at home and Swansea. That's it. There's not an away game where I've come away from that and sort of gone, oh, we are superb there. Other than that,
I thought we were good at Watford away, and I thought we were good at Blackburn away, but not for the whole game. We put in decent shifts in those games.
Shifts are fine. Like, we did that for a lot. Like, the start, we didn't put it together the full night. I think, Swansea's probably arguably only the second half. It was a good performance, but Plymouth was pretty solid. But that's how we're not down there. Is Plymouth and Luton are terrible. I think you're looking at this now and you look at who's in that relegation zone. You can comfortably say the 3 worst teams, like, it's not just a sort of like thing of, they're unlucky or so. Genuinely the 3 worst teams this season in the bottom 3. And I think if it stayed like this, there would be very little arguments from all 3 sides.
I'm looking at the we were only in the relegation zone 4 times in the 2022-23 season. And we weren't in the relegation zone from match day 32 onwards. And the Rotherham game, in which we beat them 2-1 away from home, I thought that was like 2 games left of the season. That was a match that was with 7 games left to go.
Yeah, it was a while off that, and that
season felt like more. This season obviously is more jeopardy, but that season felt like more jeopardous, if that is even a word. Up until that game, Tom, whatever. The Welsh Wombat asks, we're talking about managerial change, talking about Reza, we're talking about whether he will or will not go. Would you take either both of Rambo and Rolls as head coaches for the last 4 games if we actually grew a pair and sacked off Reza? Sorry, I know I've already replied once. I'll find the other reply in a bit. He just had this afterthought tonight after a crisp sandwich. Tell us all about the crisp sandwich, Jim. Tom, is that worth a roll of the dice at this stage?
Yeah, probably. And I think the kind of one of the best performances we've had this year was probably the kids in the FA Cup, wasn't it, against Sheffield United? And I think like that might be they're the only ones who seem to like care. Like, they're the only games I've kind of had any joy from this year are those cup games, because you saw youngsters go out there, put a shift in and stuff, and that could work from a managerial point of view. Give those 2 a go. Get Reza out of there, get them in there to try and do something. I think at this point, it's the only thing that could probably give us a shot in the arm. Is just them coming in, trying something. They're good football heads. It may translate into some decent managerial decisions. Something needs to happen. And I think if you'd have asked me a few weeks ago, I'd be like, look, they've got no managerial experience. It'd be daft. But now, I'd try anything. I'd give Di Hunt a go, to be honest with you. He might come up with something.
Car park.
Oh, there we go. He's not banned from the dugout, though.
No, so, you've got. It's a long way round. Otherwise, and if you can get into the dugout, you'd have to go into the Ninian stand across all the seats, and it'd be really awkward. That
it's impractical.
He's got the jacket. He's got the jacket. When you stand next to him, you can see the first team manager's jacket he's wearing.
And Tanner like that because that'll save him a few quid.
Yeah, exactly. That'll save him a few quid. And better dressed than Reza anyway. Reece Jenkins, friend of the pod. This team has gaslighted me all season into thinking there is some talent there and we should be higher in the table. I'm a fool. Reece, we're all fools. Lloyd Mogg says only ourselves to blame. Sheffield Wednesday, opportunity missed. QPR, opportunity missed. Preston, opportunity missed. Stoke, same story. Fed up with this team. It's pathetic. Ben, not me, different Ben. It's another person called Ben. There's a third Ben. For a side that needs goals, why don't they ever shoot? Defence is turned so easy. Captain O'Dowda had a stinker setting the tone. We deserve money back for that garbage display. Gwyn Jones says, I'm not defending the overpaid PE teacher, but did Reza ever get the extra coaching staff he needed when appointed? Bullet left with all his team and left us with Tom Ramerson and the one new guy they got in from Cov. That's a question that I will come back to. Glyn Sexton, still only 1 point behind Derby, which we effectively were anyway because of the goal difference. So no real change there. The only way we stand a chance of picking up more points than Derby, though, is with a drastic shake-up from a new manager. But who? Ben, there's been a lot of Twitter chatter about one Neil Warnock potentially coming back. There's been Twitter chatter about Vincent Tan, our esteemed leader, who I can't remember ever seeing at the CCS in the last couple of years. I think he's been for one game. Has refused to kind of let that happen. Let's entertain it for a few minutes, Ben. Would Warnock make a difference with 4 games left to go? He'd have a week now or 4 days with them before the Sheffield United game on Friday. Would he make a difference?
I think yes. Would it be enough to keep us up? I don't think so. I think you'd definitely see a mindset shift. We did that thing with Royals, Moz and Hoyler, and they were saying about how like the day Warnock came in, they were expecting sort of like a heavy sort of like bollocking, and he came in and everyone instantly lifted the mood in the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Like Warnock comes in, he brings everyone an Easter egg. People are going to feel happy, aren't they?
I'd love an Easter egg from Warnock.
Like that would be class. Like instantly then lifted up. Like, oh, what have you got? Mini eggs? Oh, what do you get you? Oh, munchies. Like, what a result that is. That's the sort of thing you do. So it'd make a difference, but with 4 games to go, would it be enough for difference to sort of keep us out? Who's to say? But honestly, now I'm at the point where anything will make a difference compared to what we've got. It's the first time I've thought, just get rid. Yeah. And it's just anything will work now. Because if you don't, you just condemn us to League One. You're accepting what is probably going to happen anyway. But a new manager bounce, there is that slightest bit of hope where realistically it is just 1 win. But I don't see it. But I don't see us getting that 1 win at the moment.
Tom, we've kind of been on the side that we think Reese's going to stick around for the rest of the season. It feels like he's still going to stick around for the rest of the season. But why not roll the dice? If is Tan that stupid? Are the people advising him that fucking useless? Like, why not roll the dice?
I don't know. Like, it feels like we've gone too far now to do it. Like, if Kebabs bringing Warnock in now, the optics are so bad. I think it just looks like it looks so desperate. And
we are desperate.
Can I say, Tom, I don't think this club has ever given a shit about optics previously.
True. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it could work, but then what would you just bring him in for a few games, stay up, and then start again and bring in a new manager, right? But I just don't trust
bring Reeza back.
Yeah, give him another go. Like, we got you out of that one. We've given you a free go. You'd be good for League One. Omar, come back in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, it could work. And I think we just at that point, just try something. But it should have been 5 games ago, not now.
It should have been Christmas. You look back now.
That's true.
But
that's true.
The club, instead of sacking him for some reason, gave him a contract to the end of the season and backed themselves into a corner.
But we did that too, though. It's an interesting one. It's like we just wanted him tied down.
We wanted stability.
I think at any point we'd gone, give Reeza the job. I know I certainly didn't. I was always a bit hesitant over him, but
I think I did.
But I think what you have, when you look back at it, we realized that Reeza was going to get the job. I think that's the thing, isn't it? We were all sat here going, this club isn't really going to roll the dice even in December. The only option at that point was giving Reeza the job full time, because they weren't, there was talk of Bilic, there was talk of all this kind of stuff, but they weren't being serious about that stuff. So I don't even know if we wanted it or were just so beaten down by this football club that we were just accepting that was going to happen. And it was just,
we're longing for normality, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. We want stability and normality, and we just haven't had it for years. And I think we just want something just nice to happen. So, like, I know personally, it's just like, just give him the job, because it'd be nice to have a manager in place and to act like a normal football club for a bit. And it's not that I thought that he was going to be the answer. It's just you kind of just want him to do well. So we say, give him the platform.
You need an answer. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that point, there was no answer there. We didn't know what was going on. The players know what was going on. You could tell it was starting to affect them. That's where it all comes down to. It all stems from just shit leadership from the top, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mark Carter, friend of the pod, he was one of the first people to reply. He said, entire club from top to bottom can get in the bin. Absolute joke of the season. Not one person at the club with a spine or any ounce of ambition drive. I don't care how much Tan is putting into the club. He may as well just be chucking it in the tap. He's got to go. All of them do. Ben, ultimately, who does the blame lie with? We have Vincent Tan, who's the money man in. It's funny, isn't it, Tom? Just like
I've just broken. I've completely broken. It's just like dawned on me. It's just like, oh God, this is horrible.
Ben, ultimately, Tan's the money man. He puts the money into the club, and he's being advised by Dalman Chu, the rest of the board, whoever they may be. It's a clown car of idiots, basically. Is this with Tan? Does it fall in Dalman and Chu's court? Like, they can only do so much, right? But should they be doing more?
Tanner's final say. It all rests on his shoulders. He's very forthright from what you hear that he has the final say on the major decisions. Managers can be recommended to be sacked. Managers this season might have recommended to be sacked long ago, but ultimately, part of the same with the Bullet stuff. When we got that, it was sort of thought the club should do it. Took a while to convince Vincent Tan to make that decision. Ultimately, the blame lies with that man. The downfall of this club lies with that man. The decision to go for the rebrand was his decision. The change back was his decision. It all stems from that. The decision to appoint a painter, a bloke that you employed to paint the stadium as director of football or head of scouting, that decision lies with Dan. It's every sort of mess, and we can point fingers and sort of say Dalman's responsible for this, Chu's responsible for that, and they are. They're not blameless in this. Even to a certain extent, Steve Borley's not blameless in this, but they have far less influence in it than what Vincent Tan does. He signs everything off, and ultimately his legacy at this club will be taking us from a steady championship club to a club that ended up back in League One. It won't be the 2 promotions. It won't be any of the other good stuff that went with it. It will be that he got us relegated from a position where we seemingly were in that danger before through his mismanagement.
Tom, what can we do about Vincent Tan? There's talk of protests. There's talk of mainly protests. I can't think of any other talk. What can we actually do as a fan base to kind of show Big Vincent that he's a fucking idiot?
I'm not sure there's much you can do. I think the protest is the one thing we can do, and I think I get that people are saying it's too late and stuff now, but the reason it wasn't done before is because you still want a bit of positivity there, and it felt like we could pull ourselves out of this, but that seems to be dwindling away day by day. But we know he's a man who's completely headstrong, and I think you look at other clubs as well. Things like protests don't work that much anymore. Like a lot of owners just do what they do. Like you look at De Jong, like a Reading, for example. Yeah. People are just going to do what they want to do. He lives thousands and thousands of miles away. Us in the car park with a banner is not going to make a blind bit of difference to someone like him. And I think that's the sad state of affairs now. You would done protests 25 years ago. That owner's got to walk through that crowd to get into the ground, and it's completely different. They don't anymore. They watch it on a stream from miles away. I doubt he's even doing that anymore. And it's just, I think that's the problem. It's just we're so detached from owners and stuff now, and it just feels completely helpless. And I think that's why it's such a sad state of affairs now, because it just feels like we can't do much, and we're just watching our club get worse and worse and worse. Even all the nice things we've had over the last 10, 15 years have been tainted. Yeah. And I think that's the problem now. And it's just, I just feel completely helpless in it. And I think I'm sure others feel completely the same.
The thing I was thinking about earlier, Ben, and the fan base should just not buy season tickets. Is that something that the fan base should be thinking about? There's no jeopardy now next season going into League One or the Championship that you won't get a ticket for a game. You could buy a ticket on the gate. You could buy a ticket whenever you want to go. So, should fans think twice about buying season tickets this year? Should there be an organised thing about not buying season tickets? Because that will show something, right, to the bottom line.
They are 100%. There's no doubt you can do that, but you've got to think to a lot of
people who are going to buy season tickets. I totally get that.
There's more to this club than actually go into the game. The game is part of, for a lot of people, just their routine and sort of their life with their families. There's fathers and sons that have gone to games for decades.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you don't need a season ticket now. You're not going to have a problem getting tickets for next season. If you don't buy season tickets en masse, that impacts the club in some way. That shows them something.
It does. It's not that. Yeah, you have the same season ticket, you have the same seat, you speak to the same people. it's for some people, it's their major part of their life. Do you know what I mean? It's the one thing they look forward to on a weekend. And I think you don't want to take that away from
anymore.
No, but it's not. You know what I mean, though. It's like you've had a season ticket since 1972 and things like that. It's like you want to keep it going and things, and you take that away from people, it gets even worse then. So I don't even think that's the answer. And I
wouldn't begrudge anyone buying a season ticket next year in the same way.
I wouldn't
completely understand anyone that goes, I'm not buying a ticket again next year. I'm not buying anything with the club's badge on it. I'm not giving that club any money till Tan's gone. I completely understand. But realistically, the season ticket makes a difference. But Tan is in a place where he's pumping money into this club anyway. He's going to keep doing that because he needs to keep it afloat, because the only way he's getting his money back is, and that is the noose, the sort of noose around our neck is the Salah case. Until that's resolved, Tan's not going anywhere because that's his money back. Like same with Darman, like no, they're not going anywhere. There's not going to be a takeover because they can't leave the club until that's sorted. Once that's sorted, I'd be amazed if they stick around for 6 months. The club will be up for sale straight away. Like there'll be a Darlow sign hanging from the window, sort of saying for sale, and they'll sell up. But until that happens, and that's going to be years, they've got to fucking man up and handle this properly. And I think that's what the protest needs to be about. It needs to be open about, we know they're not going anywhere. Let's fucking open it up and get things sorted in the right way. Let's not. No, I don't even think Tan wants the club to fail. I really don't. I think he's too proud and too successful to have this around him that it's failed. But he doesn't seem willing to engage with people to sort of correct that either at the moment. And that's the biggest issue.
On the correct course. I'm just going to go through some of the more, just the tweets. Mark Rhodes, and here I am watching Brentford getting a point at Arsenal. Nothing against Brentford, but how shit is Cardiff being run as a football club? Scallop Ho says, proper fucked. Nothing can save us. The players don't seem to give a fuck, and the ownership is wank as well as absent. Thoroughly deserve what's coming. Jim, the Welsh Wombat, here's his other comment. Finishing bottom of the league, aren't we? Why was Robertson so wrecked for the last quarter of the game? Why take off both strikers at 0-0? It's a joke. Sam Weston Heap, he says, bunch of C words, like having a fucking ashtray on a motorbike. Useless. Welsh Vikings, if Tan doesn't go, he will kill this club. Chris the Watts says, board has to go, rotten from the top. Club has been on decline for years, yet only the fans can see it. MJCCFC says, can't wait for us to go to League One and make Reading look like they're well ran. David Charles says, first, I hope the guy who was ill gets better. How can a manager stand and watch the first half where it's patently not working and not make any changes for the second half to player formations or tactics? It's just beggars belief. Pep says, ref was shite, but unfortunately so were we. Still 4 games to enjoy. Pep was very positive at Preston on Tuesday. Cal Drogo says, I'm just tired, to be honest. Don't feel angry anymore. Just resigned to the fact we are going down. Di Richards, how many goals will Salek score in League One? Shout out Las Vegas. Salek isn't scoring goals in League One. He isn't going to be here if we go down. Callum J 1927 says, how long have you got? Aiming for about an hour. Neath Blue says, we look shaky in defensive transitions. Do you think it was a big mistake to let Siopis go? CCFC Mando says, board are idiots for giving them the job. Reeser is a bigger idiot for being absolutely horrific at it. 5 wins in the league since November, and we're in mid-April. Worst manager in years. Fred Keenor says, time for Tan to end this nonsense and sell up. We have assembled a bunch of players without any bottle management coaching team that would look out of place in the Welsh League. Shocking and heartbreaking at the same time. Fred Keenor insert the Ian Wright looking shocked gif. At Matt CCFC, such a rotten football club on Tan completely should have sacked Reeser when he had the chance. Doesn't help when the players couldn't give a fuck either. A Dowder apologising again is so boring, pissing me right off. Get me to Bradford ASAP. Don't care anymore. MJW28 Gaming, time for a Hail Mary. We're going down the way it is. Warnock needs to come in. Tom Lang says, sorry, Tom Phillips, diving headfirst off the positivity train after that one. Utah Jazz fan said, I had a wisdom tooth out this week and it was less painful than watching Cardiff. Liam Williams says, I generally hope Tan fucks off once he gets his dirty court money. He's been a burden on this club ever since he's come here, regardless of the promotions. He's finally put the nail in the coffin for our club. I genuinely see us rotting in League One for years. Tom, you can look at Birmingham and what they've done this season, obviously spending 50 million on Jay Stansfield, only for him to score penalties. They lost in the Virtue Cup today as well to Peterborough, which is great. But they've come straight back up. They've done what they've had to do. They've been in the league for 1 year, bouncing straight back up. That isn't going to happen with us, is it, if we go down? If we go down, when we go down, whatever it is.
No. There's bigger, better clubs that have struggled to come up from League One than us. And we're not that. We're not these giant clubs. And we'll go down and we'll struggle. I'd worry if we go down. Like, I really worry, because the players we've got there at the moment, there's no fight whatsoever. They'll need to fight if they go down. I think the only saving grace we've got is we've got a good young crop of players, some good like youngsters that have come through our system, and it seems that our system is going well. That's the one thing in the club that's going well at the moment, is our kind of youth setup.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think we'd be mid-table if we drop. I don't see us coming back up anytime soon, if at all, in the next 10 years, to be honest with you. And I know that I listened to Alternative Wales, like Ryan on that was saying, it's what we need to go down, kind of reset. But I just don't see us resetting. And I don't trust the club to reset. We're not well enough run, to kind of do that, to have that reset and come back up. So it could be a real troubling time for us if we drop. I think it's a lot bigger than just being relegated. I think it could be a real moment for the club where we start to really stagnate.
A reset happens when a club has a strategy, knows how they're going to reset. We don't have that, do we? We're going to go into that, look at who we've got and hope for the best. And that's how you, like you rightly said, Tom, that's how you end up mid-table. That's how you end up like Ipswich for, was it 5 years they were down in League One? Bolton.
Like Wigan.
Yeah. You go one way. There's no... Football's in a place now where you can't be badly run like this. It just can't happen. No club is being successful and being badly run. The basket cases aren't getting promoted anymore from the Championship. They're going the other way, and we're proof of that. Yeah. Stoke will be in exactly the same place the way they're going next year. It will be sort of like just the same story for them. It's just disastrous, and the financial implications as well are huge. People are gonna, like, it's not just like the players not being here next year. There's going to be long-time members of staff right now are fearful for their jobs at that club that have been there for a long time, because you think like the money dropping off between the Premier League and the Championship's big. From Championship to League One is just as big in proportion, but it's a lot less money. So it's scary what's going to happen there. There's going to be really good people losing their jobs, and the club's going to be a lot worse for it. And even more of that sort of heart is going to be gone.
Dan Evans says, as good as down, teams around us are horrendous too. Had multiple chances to claw ourselves out of it. Luton Wednesday today, we're even worse at home. Think pressure gets to them, but Reeser has definitely changed his style since around Leeds. Back to bullet ball now, basically. Rodri says, why did he take off both Robinson and Salek in a must-win game? Mental. Stoke had this as a headline before the game. Said, don't fear the Tinker Man. He could yet be Stoke City's relegation saviour. Written by Keith Wales. No, good for Keith. He knew what was coming. Stephen Wells says, View from the Ninian League One. Absolutely pathetic. Sick of every team looking infinitely more well-drilled than us. Sick of teams that can't win an away game coming to our place for a party. Absolutely honking. Alex Bennett says, finally accepting we're down, even though we're only 1-2 with goal difference, points adrift. I can't see where those 2 points come from. Keelan Moses says, Isaac scores, that the game changes completely. Can't miss chances like that at this level. Gareth Dunning says, I'm not repeating myself time and time again. We'll let you boys do that. Cheers, Gareth. Thanks for all your comments this season. It's nice to know that we are repeating ourselves. Pete Davis says, our transfer activity in the last 3 windows coming back to bite us on the arse. Blame Reeser all you like, and he is definitely at fault, but we somehow spent £15 million on this squad. Ella Espanola, 5 net, because he sold McGuinness for 10. And he's going to go down as well. Ella Espanola, there's more passion and organisation in the under-12s team at the Butts Field. Absolute shambles of the club, rotten from top to bottom. Noah Nissian, will you be walking or running to the club shop now that the replica shirts are now only 30 quid? In all seriousness, is it time for a panic button-esque changing of the managers? We look fucked, boys. Anyway, can't wait to listen. Well, I hate to say that I have taken advantage of the club shop sale. I've bought every kit that we had on sale this season. All the shorts. I've got the goalie tops. I've even bought the walkout jacket, lads, because I'm a fucking moron.
The one thing, probably the only good thing about this season is that walk-on jacket.
Nice, isn't it? 40 quid at the moment.
That's the problem. It's still just a little bit too expensive for what the season's gone. I just can't justify it. I quite like it. I'm like, that is nice, but I'm here going, still no.
I got 2 pairs of socks coming.
It's got to be bad for me to say no to a club shop sale.
Kian Wallace says Cardiff will be bothered to. Neath Blue says on a positive note, it's going to be fun managing Cardiff in League One, playing Football Manager next year. Tarly 27, fuck. Connor Jones, no leaders, no plan, but still got a fighting chance somehow. Milo says just pathetic, but was always going to be a matter of time before performances and dynamics on the pitch echoed those in the boardroom. Aimless and passive with a manager on the way out of his depth. Feel sorry for Callum O'Dowda today. Only one showing any proper care. Miss Rousey massively too. Richard Endicott says, seriously, the response in the Canton after the game was the most toxic I've ever seen. Fair dues to O'Dowda for fronting up, but the rest must be thinking, what the fuck? It's all on Tanners. Tom, it only really feels like now is it properly getting toxic, doesn't it? Which is amazing, really, over the course of the season. There has been little pockets, little moments at Preston on Tuesday. People at the back started singing, we want our club back. People at the front were saying, well, we've never had it taken away from us. We're still here, all this kind of stuff. But Saturday, the Stoke game, at the end of it, really felt like it was turning, didn't it?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, sorry, it felt like a shift, didn't it? Yeah, it did feel like it then, didn't it? If anyone was listening, I'm not crying, I promise, just something stuck in my throat.
Tears.
Like, because we have all just floated in that kind of just above the relegation zone all year, it never felt like horrendously bad. Always felt like we might pull away, something might change. But that performance on the weekend, it was just that final coffin, like people have been saying in the comments. I mean, we're in that relegation zone now, and we don't look like we're coming out. And I think it's just that, just people have just collectively fed up in one go. And I think it was just a turning point now. And I can't blame him for it. I'm part of it. I was positive until this week. And it doesn't deserve my positivity.
From your sofa in Melbourne. Boo!
Yeah. Just booing in an empty basement at 2:30 in the morning.
Like that old bald guy. Boo!
But it's just... It doesn't need our positivity. They don't deserve our positivity anymore.
No,
they don't need us. They don't deserve us to be there going, oh, we might get out of this. And it's just like, it's tiring being positive. I'm done with it now. I am knackered of watching this club. And I think everyone just feels the same way now because it's boring as well. It's boring and it's tiring. And it's just, I think that Stoke game just summed the season up in 190 minutes.
It was telling as far as sort of like that 90 minute sort of situation was really telling of sort of people's characters. Have I gone? Sorry. Did I drop out again then?
Nope.
Oh, it froze for me. Sorry. It was really telling sort of as far as people's characters of O'Dowda went and hands up to the Canton and fronted it. A couple of other players sort of did that, but were a fair bit behind O'Dowda. Rawls came on the pitch, sort of consoled the players, sort of went there and faced up to the Canton as well with O'Dowda. The man that's supposed to be leading it ran down the tunnel. And again, that just shows where he's at. For a bloke that sort of liked making himself front and center of everything at the start, there was lots of pictures of him doing that. There was no on the pitch sort of anything. He just sort of went straight down the tunnel. And again, it shows the character of everything there, doesn't it? It shows who do you want in the trench with you.
Yeah. Reece CCFC says Reese was out of his depth, but those players are spineless. Apologies to anyone who's seen me lose my head near the tunnel. Perry NG tried to fight me after I called him a bottle job. That's the highlight of my year. Classic Perry NG going after a fight that you can't win. Gaz Williams taking off both
with the Stoke player as well. It kicked off then.
He's
at full time.
He's been such a disappointment this season, Perry NG.
I'm glad he's out for the season. What looks things he was spotted in town with a boot.
With a boot on his foot, yeah. Gaz Williams has taken off both strikers at 0-0, was asking for that to happen. Absolutely zero goal threat in the side outside of them two. Boosh Chalasine, the supporters deserve better. On the plus side, Colwyn Bay won the Cymru North. Congratulations, football is good again. Lee Sanders, how about VFTN live at various League One grounds next season? I'm sure the budget will stretch to bring Tom back every other week. I spent Preston game with Lee Sanders on Tuesday. What a man. I've known him since I was a very small boy. Oliver Reese, isn't this a beautiful badge? It's a League One badge on the sleeve. Morgan Davis says Alex Robertson's worst game in a City shirt. Thought he was poor today. We're in serious trouble at finishing bottom. Sack the board. Jake says, can I come on the pod to vent, please? Connor Griffiths, we'll come to that one. Sven D says, thought the squad and manager would be up for it today. How wrong I was. Not over till it's over, but things are looking bleak, to say the least. Give us some faith, gents. Sorry. James Webber says, I'm completely apathetic. Why should I care more than the club? You reap what you sow and it's harvest time. Players don't get a pass either. Most have underperformed all season. We've circled the drain long enough. Get us in League One where we deserve to be. I mean, that tweet goes very much against the give us some faith, please. Did I miss any tweets? Helen Love says, problem's not Tannery's a down or chew. It's continuing playing the stereo fucking phonics over the tannoy. Absolutely curse on the club. Not simply the best. Where was the tweet? Richard
Tell you
Endicott.
what, sorry, when on the subject of music, when I put the stream on, it went from Scooter to Bass Hunter to Fratelli's in the ground. I was like, who is in charge of the music? It was absolute madness.
Whatever. Well, now that's what I'll call music in 2002 was. That's what they had on. It was meant. It was a really poor track, and it was so loud that even when the crowd were trying to get chants going, like "Hey Jude," it just drowned everything out. It was just How can the stadium be so different from the Wales games to the Cardiff games? How can the same stadium host just such different matchday experiences?
Yeah. Richard Endicott, this is an economics question. Is the £10 car park at goal centres with a £9 bar voucher in return the best matchday deal in Cardiff? Tom, can you think of a better one? Maybe Canton Rugby Club selling cheap pints?
I do like that they sell cans out of a bucket outside Canton Rugby Club, which is good. Which is good stuff.
Let me make sure I haven't missed some of these tweets. There's a couple of tweets I want to touch on. James C. Roberts, this one's for both of you. Can't even think about how bad it was, so have this instead. If you had a bowl of 100 raspberries and each raspberry was worth £100,000, but one of them was filled with poison and would kill you in 24 hours, how many would you eat? Ben?
After that Stoke game, back 200.
100. Tom?
5.
Well, not 10. You wouldn't try and get to 1 million?
No.
Right,
no.
Half a million.
It's well, it'd be $1 million in Australian dollars. So I think psychologically that would be enough for me.
Yeah,
and that'll buy you a pint and a coffee.
And there was one more question that I wanted to kind of touch upon because it goes to looking forward to next season. Let me see if I can find it. Now, Connor Griffith asks, who out of the current squad would you pick to be in the lineup for the Lincoln away opening game of next season? They're at Sinsel Bank. Did I play at Sinsel Bank? I think they play at Sinsel Bank. That comes back to what we kind of touched upon earlier, Ben and Tom. Ben, who is going to be here next season if we go down, when we go down, whatever it may be? I don't know what it is at the moment. We've got a bloated squad of high earners who've come in this season and underperformed. I mean, there's going to be players who probably go quite easily. I think Callum Robertson would probably get a move. You think that Alex Robertson would probably get a move. Salek would probably get a move. But then you're going to still be stuck with people like Chambers, potentially Darland, who haven't performed to the level they should be. Who do you think goes and stays?
Should we play? I've got the squad list up if you want to play a game of let's keep or stay.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick fire, both of you, right? So Ethan Horvath.
Keep.
Anik.
Keeper.
Keep.
Yeah, keep them both.
Matt Turner.
Freedom of the City. Give him the flag.
Will Fish.
Keep.
Yeah, keep.
Dimi Gutas.
No.
He's going. He's gone.
Jesper Darland.
The jury's out, but keep.
No. Get rid of him.
I'm in the exact same boat as you, Tom. So, Callum Chambers.
No.
Yeah, we might get. Yeah,
he earns too much money. Yeah, he's been all right, but he's too high earner for League One.
Yeah. He was playing Premier League 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Jamalu Collins. I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
Joel Bagan.
Keep.
Perry NG.
No.
Get rid.
I'll drive him myself. I think he's been absolutely woeful.
Yeah, completely agree. Joe Rawls.
Keep.
Rambo.
Keep, but I don't know. Pay him
coaching the under 13s.
Yeah, do something. Yeah, just keep register him as a player, but don't let him play.
I wouldn't offer him a new deal. You can't justify the 2 years at the club justifying offering him a new contract, especially in League One.
But I do think he's the kind of person who go, I think I've got something to prove, so therefore I'll do it on reduced terms because he doesn't need the money. Really, yeah. I think that's the kind of thing that would end up being. I agree. I wouldn't keep him on the current terms.
Callum O'Dowda.
Keep. I do love the man.
But I think someone will come in for him.
I think someone will as well.
Di Turnbull.
Get rid.
Yeah, I'd want to keep him, but I don't think he's done enough to warrant him.
That's exactly my thoughts.
Sivert Mansverk.
He's going back in.
Yeah,
I do quite like him, but he's going back to Ajax for God's sake.
Yeah.
Alex Robertson.
Keep, but I think he's going to go.
I question his attitude a little bit. I'm not sure.
Completely.
He changed the game against Preston. He came off the bench and was the reason we drew that game. But he
was awful against Stoke.
The amount he threw his arms up. I was at the Penabont thing with Craig Bellamy, and he said he messages players when he's watching Wales players sort of throwing their arms up or pointing somewhere when they want to pass or want someone to come to them. He rings them up. He threatened to chop Joe Rodon's arms off after watching a Leeds game a few weeks ago. For that reason, he says the second you do that, you've lost your head, and the other team's got an advantage. And that's all Robertson did against Stoke, was throw his arms up. So yeah, sell, get rid. Ruben Colwell.
I want to keep him, but I just don't see the point anymore.
Keep.
I thought he was decent against Stoke. I thought he came on actually tried to make stuff happen.
I know, and he did that against Preston. He did that against QPR. But we're going to be we're going to be having the same conversation in a year's time. We're going to say his numbers aren't good enough. He's not delivering too much. What's the you know what I mean? That's just where I see it going. Anyway,
Andy Rinomhota.
Keep. I like him.
Yeah, same.
He's a keep for me in League One. Chris Willock.
No.
Complete waste of time.
Yaku Mate.
I'd honestly keep him in League One. If he can mend his relationship with the fans, he could be a decent player. But
no. Do you know what? He's one of the few. He surprised me because he's got reason to fob the club off and say fuck it. But
I agree.
Yesterday against
Preston, he's been the difference.
He does look like he cares.
He cares. He does care, and I think that's a huge thing in this. I'm starting to fall in love with him again, even if he's not got the result. And I still don't think he scored at the Cardiff City Stadium, which is something I find weird. But
I don't think he has either.
El Ghazi.
Get rid. What a waste of time that was.
Was spotted leaving the stadium after 75 minutes yesterday. So
don't blame him. That's
that's decision making right there. Get him on the pitch.
Yusuf Salek.
Keep.
Will Alves.
Well, we're not going to keep him, but I would.
We'd be lucky to get him again.
Yeah.
Rocco Summit.
Keep. I still don't quite get it, but keep.
Yeah.
Ollie Tanner.
Keep.
Isaac Davis.
Keep. Sign a new contract. Not going anywhere.
Yeah, definitely keep. Yeah.
Kean Ashford.
Keep, but get rid of the army haircut.
I'm not convinced by him anymore, but I would keep him.
He's got a haircut of like if you score like a matchstick card from like the 1940s, like Corporal Ashford.
God, fucking hell. Callum Robinson.
Keep. I don't think we can.
No, I wouldn't keep him. So, I think his attitude is starting to turn a little bit again, and I'm not convinced he's the right type of character to have around the club.
I think that's not unfair. But yeah, basically then we've got a busy window starting in January based off that.
She didn't ask us about Ryotaro Sonoda there, Ben.
He's not on the list.
Yeah. Go on.
Who have we got?
I think he's the only one out on loan, really, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is.
Let me look on my massive screen.
Kian Atete.
We're keeping him because he signed a new contract before he went to Bolton and stunk the place up.
That's a good start, isn't it? So yeah, the good news is we've got lots of strikers that don't score many goals, and that is how you win promotion.
That is how. Michael Reindorf.
Clearly doing well in League One. Here's a good one. Ryan Wintle.
I'd keep him,
Same.
Eli King.
Keep.
Yeah, keep.
Kieran Evans.
Get rid.
Joel Colwell.
Keep.
Yeah. See, we've got some good youngsters.
Yeah.
I can't wait to destroy their careers.
The The exciting thought of like that midfield three of Joel Colwell, Ruben Colwell, Eli King.
Oh, we're going up, boys.
The LDV Vans Trophy won't know what's hit it.
Oh, that's exciting. I forgot that we'd be in that.
The Virtue Trophy. Gonna give you 1 second, lads. I've accidentally unplugged my massive screen. No, I can't.
This has been a shambles. Fair play.
Like the football club, innit?
We're putting the same amount of effort in as the club does, to be fair. Fuck it.
Oh my God, what have I done here? Do you still hear me?
Yeah, just about.
Cool. 1 second, boys. I'm coming back. I promise you, I'm coming back.
I tell you what,
I've got my quiz on the screen.
It says a lot when I've been the most professional out of the three of us today.
Yeah, I've been the most professional. Yeah, I've been the most professional. Is that everyone in the squad? What about Raheem Conte?
He wasn't on the wiki list or on the first team page. I can go into the under 18s, under 21s if you want.
Please don't.
I think we've rinsed that as far as we can. Lads, it's been over 20 years since we've been in League One. It's been so long, it's not even called Division 2 anymore. Thought for a bit of fun, I'd do a little quiz to round things off, and then we can all go to bed. Or you can go to work, Tom. Have a good day. Someone asked me on Tuesday, Tom, I think it was Pep, when we last recorded the pod, did you make your tram in 20 minutes?
I did. Thank you for asking.
There we go. Pep can sleep easy after hearing that. Right, quick quiz, and then we'll round this off. 5 questions. It's all for fun. In the 2002-2003 season, the last season we were in Division 2, League One, which 2 players played in all 49 games in league and playoffs? This is off Wikipedia. This is probably before both of your times, which is quite funny.
Yeah, it's like when I started watching.
Earnshaw is 1. Tom, have a guess at the other one.
Who was in goal?
It wasn't a goalie.
I don't know. Go on, go for it.
Peter Thorne, which surprised me.
That was my next one.
Well, he should have said it then, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
I got the first one. It was a team effort.
Yeah, he was actually... Yeah.
Good point.
How in that season, how many games did the Chinese David Beckham, Van Zihi, play for us?
12.
I reckon less, because he had man of the match in the first one.
Got sent off in like his second.
Yeah, he just sent off in the third, and then got yellow card in the second, sent off in the third. I reckon he wouldn't have played. I'm going to say 3.
7, apparently.
Oh.
7. Who refereed our player final win? He's famous.
Oh, I watched it the other day.
It's a... Yeah, it would have been around that. I want to say Dave. Was it David Ellery, the one that used to be a teacher?
He is also bald, though. So, Tom, you might know him.
Is that how it works? All bald people know each other.
That's an unnecessary stray, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's a laugh.
funny. Oh, why have I forgotten the name of the ref I'm thinking of? No, go for it.
Howard Webb.
What was it?
Yeah. I think he refereed the Bristol game in one of the semi-finals as well. Robert Earnshaw broke the record, broke 2 goal-scoring records that season. But how many goals did Peter Thorne score? Tom, you can guess first.
14.
Ben?
8.
14 in the league. 16 in all comps.
Oh, fair play.
And then I looked at this today. How typically Cardiff City was this? We were in the playoffs for most of the season. In our last 5 games, we drew 1 and then lost 3, needing a point from our last game of the season to clinch a playoff place. And who did we draw with on the last day of the season to clinch that playoff place? When do you guess?
I was going to say it was Stoke, but it wasn't Stoke. Who did we play on the last game of
the
the season?
Not far off, actually. In terms of geography.
Port Vale?
Bit far off.
A bit too... Yeah. I don't know.
It's the team who play at the Mornflake Stadium. Crewe Alexandra. Yeah. They had a player that season called Rodney Jack, and we used to call him a Jack Bastard. That was funny. That was funny. Maybe we'll go back to that. Who can say? Right, we've got 2 games coming up this weekend. I'm not going to talk about them in that much detail. Ben, are we getting any points from the Easter weekend? Yes or no?
1.
Tom?
None.
Whoa, we properly broke it in.
I'm done.
I was gonna say 4. I don't know. I just think we're gonna get 4 points from this weekend. That's probably it from another episode of The View from the Ninian. Hope we haven't depressed you too much. I just want to give a shout out to the lovely lady I met at the Preston game on Tuesday night who travelled up to Preston on the coach all the way from Ponty. Said she watches us every week. Her nephew was there as well. It was really nice chatting to you guys. And thank you to everyone who has been listening this season. Thank you to everyone with your tweets. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here until the season's grim end. kofi.com/VFT Ninian, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. If you want to review us, please give us 5 stars. There you go, Tom. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And we'll be back after the next couple of games. See you then.